it's a good question on the future of data. I think really, I mean, ultimately, I think a lot of marketers and boardrooms today all face this question, and many companies, large and or small, and probably even the direct-to-consumer brands are probably somewhat at the forefront of this, is making sure and ensuring you have the ownership of your own data. And more specifically, the acceleration for capturing and understanding your consumers from a first-party data standpoint. So I think a lot of companies today are advancing that specific capability, trying to understand more about their consumers from the interactions they have with them. And at Molson Coors, I can tell you, like, we have thousands upon thousands of interactions with consumers on a daily basis. And we have been historically only capturing a fraction of that through channels available to us to collect data. And so I think, as we, like lots of other companies are doing, are just trying to find additional avenues and paths in a privacy compliant way to meet those needs and to be able to accelerate our own first party data strategy.
Now, in this environment of greater concerns about consumer privacy and also brand safety, there's been a revived interest in contextual marketing. What do you see as the future for contextual?
Yeah, I mean, I think data strategy overall, let's take a macro view. From a data strategy standpoint, I think brands and marketers need to understand all available avenues in a future cookie-less world to ensure that their messaging is relevant to their consumers. So I do think I don't think there is one particular answer or one particular solution for what I would call signal depression. But the answer will be to look for ways through contextual marketing, depending on platform, looking at new identifiers that are going to become available or are currently available today as solutions as well. And then combining that with first party data strategies to really recreate the digital marketing ecosystem so that it can meet the current and future needs of brands.
And in recreating that, what do you think about ad creative and how brands can optimize it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they go hand in hand. I think brands that capture data or build new data strategies without that are purely being designed for media only kind of execution without the real opportunity or availability of like digital creative optimization or DCO is only kind of getting halfway there. And so I think the real opportunity will be how media teams, as they advance these capabilities or new functions within marketing departments, advance the data capability, link that to new technologies that allow you to create pretty quickly and efficiently custom creative to meet specific parts or paths of the consumer journey, path to purchase, will be super critical, because I believe those two things combined drive the benefit of driving greater efficiency and probably driving better business results. And just fixing the media piece of it alone limits the upside in what the technology that is available today.
In looking at the media piece, we've seen a lot more fragmentation. It's harder to tell sometimes what screen people are looking at anymore. So lately, we've heard a lot more discussion about consumer attention and it becoming a currency. So what is your idea about consumer attention, how it becomes a currency, this idea of a consumer's frame of mind to understand what ads to deliver to them?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's, in terms of consumer attention, it is definitely a hot topic that is, besides the metaverse, that people I do think are talking about today in the marketing world. But I do think I think the area of attention is a mixed bag in terms of what the viewpoint is on that. I hear very contradictory points of view from renowned kind of researchers in this space. And I have seen data that does suggest that obviously greater propensity for attention or greater consumer attention leads to greater brand awareness, potentially even beyond brand awareness to consideration, which is a little bit further down the funnel and ultimately to purchase. What is still undefined or kind of, I think, debated is whether or not that is equal across all media channels or it highly dependent on the creative. So if you look at it just from a media perspective alone, right, there's some opportunities or places where I think consumers lean in more. But if the creative itself doesn't perform, right, it could be a creative issue, not a media issue in terms of driving attention. I think there's still a lot of work to be done in this type of research and kind of building this type of knowledge to understand the value of attention. I do believe personally, and I've advocated for this, that there is potentially some correlation with attention to performance. But again, I think it is somewhat limited because I think the data itself isn't there yet, nor are the opportunities to measure it.
Well, that brings me to my final question. Looking ahead and where you think things need to go, what kinds of things do you expect to see in the next year, or would you like to see happen?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with what things that I do believe that we will see. Obviously, greater focus on consumer data privacy. You're seeing a lot of legislation going on in different states across the country, and even potentially some implications globally as it relates to data privacy regulation and legislation, which will have impact on brands and marketers in terms of their ability to continue to market in the way that they are today. I do think that would be a key, more macro kind of implication as brands try to figure out. And then the second piece, somewhat related to that, obviously, is Google's plan in 2023 to eliminate on Chrome and through their platforms the ability to use cookies. And so those two things are brands I would hope are preparing for that for the future. If you're not preparing for it, now is the time to prepare for it, because those brands that wait too long or wait too late to get involved are going to be put in a really bad position. What I'd like to see happen, I would say, would be the ability to kind of really understand and value data on behalf of brands and really link those ecosystems from a data standpoint across TV and digital, primarily the two big, I would say, media properties available from a scale standpoint. You're seeing a lot of different publishers build their own data capability or their own attribution solutions. And quite honestly, the challenge there is that everything lives within their wall or their walled garden. And I do think that limits, from a marketer's perspective, the ability to link all of that together.